Welcome, Harriet, to our Women Who Make It Happen journey to success. Thank you very much for agreeing to film with me today. Could you tell the audience a bit about your career journey and how you got into financial services?
Yes, so I got into financial services a little bit by accident after completing my law degree, graduating in a recession.
Oh.
So needing to find a job, but I really liked the building society ethos,
Yep.
which is more about members and less about shareholders. But I started all the way down as an estate agent and customer service assistant. Loved it, loved the ethos, loved the company. Started to make a lot of noise, ask a lot of questions, draw a lot of attention. Managed to progress onto the branch manager training, which was brilliant, but not really suited for me. So I then went into branch support, supporting the branches, which was wonderful. And then progressed into the COSEC assistant in head office, which was a new job created for me, suiting the changing needs of the company.
Excellent.
Which was really exciting. And yes, I did do the little Love Actually dance behind the door when I got that job.
Love that.
Because it was such a good fit with my skill set.
Yeah.
And then I just kept making noise, asking questions, asking for advice so I could keep developing. Switched from COSEC assistant to assistant COSEC, which is why I get confused because they're just the other way around.
Oh gosh, very confusing.
Yes, and then got to use my law degree by going into more legal counsel work.
Excellent.
Which was really exciting. And then COVID hit, which meant you weren't in the office to bother everyone with questions and opportunities. And got a really good opportunity from Saffron Building Society as their assistant company secretary, but assistant to no one.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't really assistant, it was assistant to no one. And then moved in the middle of COVID to do that.
Wow.
So moved, job, house, everything.
Everything, oh my gosh, that was a big move.
Yes, I wouldn't recommend doing it in the middle of a lockdown again. It was a big thing, but very exciting. So then did assistant COSEC with them for 4 years while developing, did a lot of development in that time to become chief of staff.
Excellent.
In September.
Wow, that's where you are now, chief of staff at Saffron Building Society.
Yes, which
excellent
is a great job, which we're seeing a lot more in the building society industry.
Yes.
Which is really interesting, but yes, I'm loving it.
Excellent. And so how did you embrace opportunities along the way? Was there people sponsoring you or was it driven by yourself?
So a mixture of both, I would say. I'm not a quiet person that sits in the corner, so I'm quite happy to draw a bit of attention to myself in a good way, I hope, and ask the questions. I'm naturally inquisitive and curious, but I did have some really good people, I think, that had seen my potential, that helped me and pointed me towards opportunities along the way. Certainly at Saffron, in the last 4 years of my development, I did have a mentor.
Okay.
Kathy Kong, who was absolutely excellent in helping me embrace a lot of opportunities. But largely it was myself earlier in my career, just asking those questions, seeing what was going on, going into spaces that were really scary and really unknown. But I feel like you don't change things if you don't change yourself. So you have to go and put yourself out there.
So it's quite interesting that you grasp those opportunities, because a lot of women don't always grasp the opportunities. It could be that it's a sideways move, or it could be transformation and change. What made you decide to take that opportunity and just run with it?
I think because I'm a target-driven person and I don't like to sit still, if you don't grab them, they pass you by and they don't come back again. So although it can be really terrifying and really nervous, I think if you don't push yourself, how can you grow? How can you take the next steps? And if that's something that interests you and you want to do, that's what you need to do to get ahead. So yes, absolutely terrified, absolutely absolutely all stages, and put in front of some very senior people. Definitely made some mistakes along the way. It's not been a perfect journey, but those mistakes have helped me learn too, and taking those opportunities has just broadened my experience and knowledge a whole way. So it's just a decision of, do I want to stand still or take a next step?
Okay.
So it's a mental thing, I guess.
Yes.
A mental driver of, I want to move forward. So
yes.
You have to push yourself into discomfort.
And that's really important, I think, pushing yourself into discomfort, because that's what makes us grow as individuals, isn't it? And that taking on board that change and that challenge and expanding that. You mentioned a lady that helped you along the way. Was there any specific incident that you remember, or occasion you remember where she gave you some advice or championed you to take something on?
Yes, so I'd had some challenging experiences in my early Saffron career with a lot of different personality types to navigate. I'm generally a black and white person, which doesn't always translate into business. And she really pushed me to see the broader picture and to look at it different and to think about how you're dealing with people, how you're talking to people, what you're doing and what you want to achieve, but also how you put yourself into that space. So a specific example was we were developing our board report, which is all of our company's information that goes through to the board. And as I was assistant co-sec at this time, and she really encouraged me to go, you're assistant to no one, so why are you labelling yourself that way? Why are you putting yourself in that space, in that lower role that you're not really playing?
Yes.
Which then became a very mental thing for me to see myself as, well, I'm assistant to no one, which is why I use that language now. So I'm actually just the company secretary. So we started writing the board report from the company secretary.
Absolutely.
Which then changed the perception of me in the room, I think. Well, that's certainly how it came across. So that perception of me lifted that level. And it made me think a lot more about the how, not just the what. And putting myself out there was really important. And that was an invaluable piece of advice that I've taken really the last 2 years in everything that I do.
Excellent. Excellent. Are there any ladies or individuals within the organisation that you now encourage and give back some of your time to help them with their career going forward?
This is a really funny example is that we had a lovely young lady in Risk who is up and coming. She's just come out of a branch job into Risk, and she was explaining to me about how she's really struggling with the stigma of coming from the branch into a risk job. And she said she's had a lot of judgment and a lot of comments. So we spent a good hour on the phone with me saying to her, I came from a branch. I started in a branch. And she was really shocked. Her face was really, what do you mean? Like, because of the way she perceives me, which is fantastic. But I just spent a lot of time going, don't worry about where you come from. It's what you're doing now. Don't let those people put you down. And there's a few times I've spent with women and men if they speak to me. So there's a few men I do speak to on that level too. But I've always said to anyone in our company, yes, please speak to me. I didn't get here just because I've stepped out of a degree into this job. I've worked really hard and made a lot of mistakes and had bumps on the journey to work out the right things to do to end up here. So that was a really wonderful example for me, because seeing her face really embrace it and be like, actually, it doesn't matter that I'm from a branch. And she's only 21, so she's got lots of opportunity. But yes, that was lovely. So I do really try and give back.
That's good. I think that's one of the reasons we host these podcasts, is to understand a bit more about people's journeys and to show individuals that you don't have to necessarily have a straight line career. It can be wiggly, it can swerve, and that grasp those opportunities as they come and are presented to you, no matter what shape or size they're like.
Absolutely. I mean, if you'd asked me 10 years ago would I have been a chief of staff, I would have said, what is a chief of staff? What even do they do? Which is a question I'm still asked very often. But I think it's just the way the world goes during your career time. Things change, companies change, the asks of the world change. Just embrace it and see what suits you. And ask all those questions along the way to help people that have been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
Absolutely. Well, you've obviously embraced a lot of change and challenge and lots of opportunities. Is there anything else now you're chief of staff that you would perhaps give advice to the younger you?
Patience. Patience, definitely. I think when you're an ambitious person, you can feel really frustrated that you're not taking steps quick enough.
Yes.
And when you're really hungry for it, that can really, I think, knock you down.
Yeah.
I've seen that a few times in people and in myself when I was younger, where there were opportunities I thought I was ready for or I should have had, and they've not worked out. And I think having that patience to find the right fit for you, company-wise, people-wise, and job-wise, is something I would definitely go back and say to myself.
Yes.
It doesn't all have to happen right now. And yeah, that's I would say that's the biggest thing. Patience.
Definitely.
It's difficult when you're hungry for it, because when you want it and you think you're ready, you just want it now.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, but I'm so ready, and you want to grab it, and especially when you've embraced a lot of opportunity and you've asked the advice and you've done all the work, it can feel very belittling.
Yes.
But it is just that patience of the right opportunity will come up, and it will be a much better fit than trying to put a square peg in a round hole.
Absolutely. And it did come up for you.
It did.
Didn't it? And you're enjoying what you're doing now.
I do love it, yes.
Absolutely. And transformation, change, what's next for you in terms of the Saffron and where you are at the moment, or your career journey?
So we're in a huge period of transformation at Saffron, but also in the building society sector in general. There's a lot of government encouragement for growth in the sector. So I think we are going to see a lot of change. I think as chief of staff, you're more involved in strategic work, which means you really get to embrace and review and get stuff done in that world, which is where I see my career over the next 5 years, because chief of staff's a role that's not defined by you do this, this and this.
Yeah.
So it can expand and broaden, which I'm really looking forward to experiencing. And Saffron's a wonderful opportunity to do that, as are many of the other building societies, to be fair, because they're all in the same position, really. But I think then beyond that, I'd like to go into operations, maybe.
Yeah.
Do maybe like a chief operational officer role, which incorporates my whole career experience, having been in the branches, done strategic work, done governance, done legal, and then longer term, I'd like to be a non-exec director. That's way in the future.
Yes.
But I think bringing all that experience and broadening of knowledge would be something I'd be excited to do.
Talking about non-executive directors, you were mentioning to me before that you're lucky enough to have quite a number of women on your NED, on the board. How do you go about finding that diversity and bringing that into a niche environment?
So Saffron is one of those places that really welcomes diversity. So when we're recruiting, we're not looking for any particular person, it's who's the best fit. And what was wonderful to see in our latest round of recruitment is we've just hired 4 new non-exec directors between June last year and December, which is a lot for a board of 8 people.
Absolutely.
And has left us with a 50-50 split between women and men, which is
fantastic.
Really uncommon in financial services. And all of them are from different backgrounds, and they're all fantastic. And our chair really loves working with women, so he does look for that, which is wonderful to see.
Yeah.
But were all just the right people for the job as well. They just brought all the right skills. So we have a transformation person, a governance person, a HR person, and then more of a strategic legal person. So it's quite broad. Yeah. But the energy and the warmth they've brought to the board is just, I think, quite rare.
Yes.
And it's been wonderful to see them bring about a really positive change to our board. And they're all just wonderful individuals.
Oh, that's good.
And really inspiring. They're also women that like to spend time giving back.
Yeah.
So one in particular I spend a lot of time talking to, who's very inspirational. She's had a wonderful career, transformation expert. But then the other three I've also spent a lot of time, especially when I was navigating some difficulties. I've got some good advice, but also in what I want to do going forward and what I'm doing now. So it's been really good, open arms, welcomed by the society, but just really great individuals that we were really lucky to get, I think.
It's nice to be able to have a mix of females and males and functions as well, so that gives complete diversity of thought, which is really good.
Absolutely. Important. And I think that was something that was missing from us before, is we had a lot of, I would call, more old-fashioned formal type non-exec directors.
Yeah.
Whereas these are far more open, far more in keeping with the society's culture in general, which has just been brilliant to see, and it's been felt by the people in the society who have commented on it and said, oh, I met Alex today, or I met Louise today, or Angela. It's been, you know, I was so excited, and just seeing that energy back from them is so lovely.
Yeah.
And having those females at the top for younger females, even myself, to look up to is, I think, something we've not all got.
No, exactly. Is there a final takeaway that you would give to the younger females out there, or even males, that to help them shape their career going forward?
My biggest advice was given to me by my mentor and my boss, so both a woman and a man, which is, it's not just the what, it's the how. And that's something that will stick with me. And I quote, if you ask my friends or my family or my colleagues, it's something I quote on a daily basis now, because you can be an excellent what person, really task focused, getting a lot of work done, but if your delivery, your attitude isn't right, you'll be hindered, because people will see the how before the what.
Yes.
So when you're working on your what, work on your how too, so that you've got all the different people, the different varieties of personality, all the different ways to get stuff done. Take that minute, work on the how.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Harriet.
Thank you.